Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome again to another edition of 2 Minutes for Roughing, Flyer and Ice Pod. I am Dan Old School Green. With me, as always, is the great Nick the Scout Tosti. And our topic today has to be about Claude Giroux. The captain is definitely 99.9% on the trade block. And as we record this show Sunday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, nothing has happened yet. Is it Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon?
It's Saturday afternoon.
Oh my God! It's Saturday afternoon. It's Saturday afternoon. Nothing has happened yet. Now, before we talk about where he possibly could go, let's talk about the legacy of Claude Giroux. So I'm going to pull up a little stat chart here. Now, in the annals of the Flyers stats, he is second all time behind the legendary Bobby Clarke. 900 points to Clark's 1210. Now, technically, based on games played, Barber was more prolific, Prop was more prolific, Lindros and Kerr were more prolific point per game guys, but Giroux played 1,000 games, all with this club, and only Bobby Clarke has done that. So the bottom line, because of longevity, his statistics are pretty prolific. And honestly, he's played in an era where scoring a lot of points wasn't as easy as the guys I just referenced. He's had only 100-point season. But again, when McLeish, Lindros, Kerr played, people were rolling out of bed getting 100 points a year. So for his time, he's always been a top 5 point getter in the NHL. And every time they say the past X amount of years, it's always Claude Giroux and company on the top 5 point getters. So your thoughts on the legacy of Claude Giroux, Nick?
He did everything he could do to make sure that his legacy put a stamp on the city of Philadelphia. In my opinion, he goes down in history as one of the top two memorable flyers of all time. He will be, in my opinion, when 10, 20 years from now, when you think about great flyers and leaders and longevity and what a player brought to a franchise, I believe, he'll be in the top 2 or 3 of that conversation. Now, when you talk about production and scoring, what he gave to his team in the 100-foot game defensively as well, and how he contributed all around in the, the progress of what we saw on this team when we did see some promise, I think is going to be unspeakable. So, we obviously both are very, high on Claude Giroux, and we always have been, and I think just like everybody else and the rest of this fan base wish and hope and will root for him when he's wearing another team's jersey, and hopes that he will hoist that Stanley Cup someday.
Yeah, I'm in complete agreement. There's the people that doubt his leadership. We've had multiple scouts on our show that behind the scenes said that the players love him and played for him when the Hackstall era was taking place, because none of the players could stand Hackstall. They played for G. So that to me is leadership. So I don't understand where this narrative comes that he's not a good leader. He's always been a top 3 face-off man in the league. He kills penalties. He's on the power play, all-time power play point leader in Flyers history. Yeah. He's just a solid, prolific player, and he's the kind of guy you'll see what he brings to the table when he's not there. You'll be like, oh my God, we miss a lot now that he's not on the ice, and he's always on the ice. Yeah, he's a durable player, and again, at 34 years of age, I have no problem him chasing the cup.
And for our viewers, those reports are 100%. You could count on those, the reliability of those comments that you just made about, the feedback that we had gotten about his leadership and what he brought to the team, and how the teams did get together and round up and play for him, even though they hated Hackstall like worse than any coach that they've ever seen.
Yeah, that's a story for another day, ladies and gentlemen. We had a phenomenal guest on that was pre-show information that he preferred to keep it pre-show. But the bottom line is, Nick and I are big Giroux fans, and we wish him nothing but the best. Now, part of his legacy, hopefully, is to bring us assets if and when he's traded. And the rumors are it's literally between Florida and Colorado. Now, I'm going to be the optimist. The longer this drags out, maybe the better it is, especially with some of the other trades that have taken place um, lately. The Ben Sherratt return. You could talk to some of the other trades that have taken place where um, teams have gotten decent value back, and Giroux is the gem on the market. So I'm going to pull up now some of the rumored players that the Flyers might be interested in, and Nick's thoughts, because Nick is the scout.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the tale of two teams and two really different returns here. With Florida and the rumors of Tippett and Semiskevich, you're two offensive dynamic players, where you're looking at the complete opposite with Colorado and Denisenko and Barron. So, to me, I don't know much about the defensemen and the defensive prospects coming out of Colorado. I saw a little tiny bit of Denisenko in juniors, but to me, to win this trade, Florida is chock full of prospects right now. And Owen Tippett, in my opinion, and I've gone on Twitter and people just saying like that's, you need more, and he's not really a centerpiece. And Semiskevich is. I've seen Semiskevich play. He's actually a Connecticut kid and was passed over for the United States National Team Development Program several times. Did not make it and went to Shattuck St. Mary's. One of the number one prep schools, if not the number one prep school in the country, and did not make their varsity team until his junior year. So I don't know how his development is going. I would anticipate it's going well since he was a first round pick and he's being, categorized as one of the top pieces of this trade. But let me tell you, Owen Tippett, Flyers fans would be very, very, very excited to see Owen Tippett in Orange. But he would fit right into the way this team is starting to develop younger players and bring, with some of the prospects that we have in the system. And as they start to generate more and more towards making the lineup, he is an outstanding skater. I mean, he's got excellent speed and acceleration, and his ability to change gears, stop and start would be amazing. He's got a nose for the net. He's quick cuts, and he's tough to defend. So, and he could put up some serious numbers. I mean, he could literally be a top 3 forward on this team in the next 2 years if he develops correctly. Very, very high ceiling, and he's starting to reach that now. So to me, I love a Florida trade here where you can get Semiskevich and Tippett. And, it seems like we talked about this before the show, Dan, that the only holdup right now is the Flyers are looking for a first round pick, which Florida does not have until 2024. And I say just get the 2024 pick and make this deal happen.
Right, and real fast to build on what Nick was saying, I read a report about Owen Tippett. They said if you like Wade Allison is a poor man's Owen Tippett. So imagine what if we're high on Wade Allison when healthy. Imagine what Owen Tippett can bring to the table, and Denisenko, as Nick alluded to, he's on the Florida side. Nick, it sounded like you were leaning. Yeah. So, and Sam, you help me with Mackey's last name. I'm just
Semiskevich.
Yeah, Semiskevich.
Yeah, he's a North American kid from Connecticut.
Yeah, he sounds like he's right. But the bottom line is that he's a great skater. He undresses the opponents. He has a high IQ, and it sounds like what we don't have: someone with hands and speed. So if we could get a Tippett Semiskevich return, I'd be thrilled. Now, notice how I have at the bottom Aaron Ekblad injury question mark. Last night he took a hit to the boards and was writhing in pain, almost equivalent to last year. He was literally screaming. He needed 2 guys to take him off the ice, and I'm like, here we go again. Their best player in theory, but definitely the best defenseman, might miss the playoffs again, and that could be like, oh, that's holding up everything. Well, A report today is the injury doesn't look to be as bad as what it looked like last night. That doesn't mean he's ready to play anytime soon. Florida wants to evaluate how he responds the next couple of days, so that could push the injury back literally to Monday. And again, as I mentioned, awkwardly, today is Saturday, and Nick, let's make this really interesting. Now I know they got Ben
Yeah.
Sherratt, but we still have a few defensemen that I could throw in to really make this a G trade, right?
Yeah, this could become really a blockbuster deal. Depending upon who, if Provorov is even considered to be moved, and then you really start to, become like, okay, well, you got this another prospect here, and possibly, another player from Florida that you could bring in. Or the more likelihood is, that Braun gets thrown into the deal, and somehow this deal gets closed, and we get the number 1 pick for 2024. With all dependent upon what this injury with Ekblad and what the long term effects are going to be of this. He's their star defenseman there, so quite possibly one of their best players, if not their best player, and in terms of what he brings to the team on a night by night basis. But yeah, this could be a blockbuster. We could see another piece in a Braun going down there, and maybe that's what is the holdup right now. But for all intents and purposes, I would think by the end of the day tomorrow, if not first thing Monday morning, we're going to hear about a pretty big trade in the making.
Right, and to Nick's point, something's going to happen, and the second it breaks, we will do like a special pop on type show. And I will tell you that jersey behind me is never going to be taken down.
No way.
This is not like a Carson Wentz or Ben Simmons jersey that I would burn, once the player is gone. This guy will always be a legend. Now, again, nothing's happened yet, and Nick and I clearly prefer the Florida package. And keep in mind, Giroux already nixed the Rangers and the Bruins as part of destinations he would go. So it literally comes down to Florida and Colorado. Now, wouldn't that be weird if we came on and it was like a totally different team? But you just never know. But right now, we love the Florida package. So we went way above our 2 minutes for roughing time. 2 minutes for roughing. We probably could call it a 5-minute major for fighting. But, this concept is to keep it a short show. But it's Claude Giroux. He's a legend. And we had to discuss this a little longer. So on behalf of Nick Descaltosti, I am Dan Old School Green. Again, we will pop back on when something happens. We are Heat Ratio Sports. Subscribe. Check us out on YouTube. And we'll be on sooner than later, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great rest of your weekend. And it is Saturday. Enjoy your Saturday.